Hello, my name's Conrad Gunderson. This is my Screencast Project, and it is called My Journey by Conrad Gunderson. I was born on September 23rd, 1980 in Spokane, Washington. My dad was in the military for about 20 some years. Um, my parents met in the Philippines, which then he moved my mom to Spokane, Washington, which is where they had me. I lived there for about 2 months until my dad was restationed back to the Philippines, which is where I moved next. I lived in the Philippines for about 8 years. Um, it was pretty interesting. Got to see a see a whole new culture, which was basically the only culture that I knew at the time. Um, my mother was Filipino, and I met a lot of my aunts and uncles and my grandmother out there. I was pretty much homeschooled all the way up till when I was about 8 years old. Um, Reason of that is because we were moving around the Philippines so much that it was going to be hard for schools to see where I was at in my education. So they decided to just have me homeschooled. I'm pretty much a family guy. Got to hang out with my cousins, as you could see in the picture, right around here. Um, from there, I then moved to Japan. Uh, it was a pretty big culture shock, going from a third world country to a high tech country. Um, we lived there for about 9 years. Um, I was really into the whole martial arts out there, especially from seeing Karate Kid, American Ninja, all these Bruce Lee movies, all these Jean Claude Van Damme movies. As you can see in the picture, I was pretty into martial arts. Over there, I was introduced to what school was. Um, Still, I was going about 5 to 6 schools a year, moving around different parts of Japan, on base, on the military base, off the military base, whatever have you. I was pretty much introduced to the culture out there. The food out there was different. I was pretty fluent in Filipino and Japanese. Didn't really know that much English. Um, my parents then decided my dad wanted to retire from the military. So after that, my parents decided to move to sunny Florida, the Sunshine State. We lived there for about a year. Um, the only reason we didn't live there that long, it was pretty difficult for my parents to find a job out there, because of mainly everybody speaks Spanish, and it was pretty hard for them, which they didn't know any Spanish. It was hard for me to speak any English. Um, it was different surroundings, going from Japanese culture to the American culture, which sometimes I still get used to it today. The only thing that was pretty difficult, it was on my parents. We lived with my mother's sister, my aunt. All four of us lived in one bedroom, which was pretty difficult on us. And once there was no luck finding a job for my dad, he decided we needed to save money, we needed to establish ourselves, so he decided to move all of us to Wisconsin. Uh, Not really much I could say great about this place, other than my dad was born there. Um, it was a difficult time for me because when I was around that age, I was getting bullied a lot. I was getting into plenty of fights, and reason being is because I guess they didn't like that I was Asian, which was pretty weird. And people would try to run me and my mother off the road, and that was the last straw for my father. Um, he was driving back and forth from Minnesota to Wisconsin, which was about a 2-hour drive, just to save up some money. But once he saw that I was getting into way, way too many fights, and that he wanted something better for me, so he decided to pack us up and move to Minnesota. Minnesota is something that it's near and dear to me. Um, it was pretty tough at first because I was so used to moving, going to different schools all the time, and it was hard for me to. I was just getting better at learning how to speak English, but I didn't want to make any friends because all I knew is that I was going to have to pack up again and meet new friends, which was getting very annoying. But once we stayed there for about 5 years or so, I was like, wow, we're not moving at all. It was a big weather shock for me. I'd never seen snow in my life. Um, I went to middle school and high school there, out there. I started getting really into playing sports like hockey, um, soccer, but mainly hockey. There are not that many basketball courts out there, mainly ice rinks. Um, I learned a lot about myself moving out there. Uh, Appreciated my family even more after going through so many rough patches. The only thing is, I had a bad experience in high school. I had a teacher that basically told me that I shouldn't be going to school if I'm not getting it, and that school is not for me, and I should just drop out, which I took literally and decided not to go back to school. Um, the people that I was hanging out with ended up being the bad influence for me, so I decided Minnesota wasn't for me. I then decided I wanted to move to sunny California. Um, California is probably moving to California is probably the best decision that I've made. I've met my wife back in 2007. Um, I decided that I wanted to establish myself out here. I made many new friends. My sister then also decided to move out to California to follow her dream to becoming a movie producer, which she basically is now working for Disney, which is a good thing. Um, my wife kind of helped me want to go back to school to help better myself. I wanted the new life, a new start, and what did it for me is right before that we were married, our my home burned down. Um, I was pretty much homeless for about 3 4 months, and my parents couldn't really do anything. They sent me some money just to help me get back on my feet, and I fought my way back up and helped me learned a lot about myself, about just to not have to throw a pity party, and the friends that I had and the people in California just helped me out so much and brought me to where I am today. Um, I didn't like where I was at in life, like just working in retail. And then after that fire incident, I was like, you know what? I need to go back to school. I then decided I was going to become an engineer and found out that engineering wasn't for me. I wasn't happy of what I was doing. So I started talking to counselors and started taking classes to see what I wanted to do in life. So I decided to become a teacher. And so here I am now at University of Laverne, um, enjoying every minute of it and learning more and more every day. And that is it for this presentation. Thank you.